everybody. Welcome to another prime edition of Legends from the Past and Future. Boy, tonight we got a show tonight, Janice. What do you think? Yeah, how do you feel? We got a legend from the legendary 73 football team. But you know what? They are here with us right now. Let's go and give them a hand clap real quick. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to take you back down memory lane first, okay? Starting with Kim Jones. We're going to start with Kim Jones and work our way to everybody, okay? Kim, growing up, let's go back to when you were a youth, okay? Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Annapolis, Maryland, actually across the street from Bates High School, the only black high school in the city and the county of Anne Arundel County.
Good. Okay. What are some of the things that you enjoyed doing while growing up?
Actually, running around in Bates. Bates was a fascinating life for us, or for me, and for some other guys on my team, because we used to go there. We would watch Bates practice football, watch Bates practice basketball, go into the science classes. I remember a teacher, Mamie Glenn, she had a science class that had all these animals in it. We would run in there and take care of our animals for her. So it was an exciting childhood. We did all those things, and plus, at our section was called Spa Road. We probably played every section in Annapolis, in town, by waters, Annapolis Garden, Newtown, every place that had a collection of young men, we played them in some type of athletic event.
Awesome. What about you, Jeff? Where were you born and raised?
Welcome, everyone. I was born and raised in Annapolis, Maryland, just like my colleagues here and former players. Grew up as a youngster first in town, what they called in town, O'Berry Court. Then we moved to Annapolis Garden, the AG community. And from there, that's where I was nurtured and was introduced to different activities, and some that I gravitated to was one of them was football, 3 sports, basketball as well as baseball. I mean, we played all the sports back then. Okay. And as Kim said, we played the different communities to compete.
Awesome. So you answered my second question. Now let's go ahead and move to you, Howard. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Annapolis. But unlike a lot of the guys, I was born on Annapolis Neck Road. It wasn't a community that was full of so many people. And when I went to play against other communities, I played with maybe Spa Road, or I played with down Robinwood. I played football. I played with different people. And my football was my first love. You know what I mean? But I couldn't play until I got to senior high, because I never could make the weight for the Crusaders and all those. So I couldn't play till they went to Germantown School, and we had a punt, pass, and kick contest. You know what I mean? And Roger Starback was at the Naval Academy then, and he came over and he coached us and taught us a lot of the basics about football. So that was my first taste of football until I got to high school.
Wow. Okay, Bump, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Baltimore, but I grew up in Bestgate, and I'm a country boy. I grew up in Mulberry Hill and Browns Woods, where I played a lot of football, mostly tackle over there. But out Bestgate, we played a lot of touch football. And I'm like Howard. I was too heavy to play the weight limited with the county, the 75, 90, and 120-pound teams. So I was also over Germantown with an unlimited weight team, but you didn't go away and play other teams. You only played each other most of the time. But yeah, I'm from Bestgate.
Wow. So I know that it was very competitive throughout the communities playing each other, but we know which community led the way, right?
Yeah,
We know
we
it.
had.
We know it.
Do we need to say that one?
Well, well,
We know it.
well, let me finish. Let me finish. I had some good athletes I played with. Dean Neal from Bestgate, Johnny Makel, Kim and Gale and Kim Brew,
Yeah.
Raymond Stanton. It was some good athletes from out Bestgate, and we played a lot of ball together.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna challenge that because in Annapolis, there was a community that really set the standard, and it was called Annapolis Gardens. We had some elite players. I'm gonna name one by the name of Angelo Wells, who went to Morgan State, who stood out, had a grand opportunity to be a professional player, played with the Houston Gamblers. Also, we had his brother by the name of Andre Wells, one of the meanest defensive ends, who played for Annapolis High School. You had Carlos Simley, you had the Belts, you had Wesley Bean. I mean, we had a mecca of athletes in Annapolis Garden. Not to mention a guy by the name of Jay Brooks, who was my big brother, who was a real legend.
Yeah.
And to be honest, down that path of competitiveness, the championships had to go through Annapolis Garden. And you're speaking to Jeff Brooks.
Well, one of the viewers, they mentioned one name, and that's Kevin Slade.
Yes.
We're gonna move on to a first question. My first question, and each of you gonna get a chance to answer the same question. Okay, we'll start with you, Camp. With football being a violent sport, why did you want to play football?
It got into my blood. I saw it played for the first time I was introduced to it this way by a gentleman named Darrell Selman. He invited me to watch some football with him. So after I saw it, I was hooked. Yes, I know it was a violent game. We would play hours of football, 1-on-1, man get 7-7, 5-on-5. Again, like all of the other people on the panel, we were just too big, too heavy to make the weights, probably other than Jeffrey in the middle. But we once we made it to high school, it was our chance to bond with one another and to unleash that I'm not going to say frustration, but that high anxiety against everybody else in Anne Arundel County, in which case we did.
Awesome. Jeff, same question for you to answer.
Well, when you address the question of football, I don't think it was a violent sport. When I think of football, I think of strong physicality of the game, as well as the mental aspects. So with that being said, it's just like manhood, showing tough love. It developed character by playing football. It showed you where your heart was. Mm-hmm. I mean, it led you down that road of determination and where you stood in the community. Because if you could deliver a hit on someone, you got respect. You got respect. So football in the community as a whole, if you played football, number one, they knew who you were in the community. Number two, they respected you. And your character was really, really developed on that football field.
That's true. That's good. What about you, Howard?
I think that football is a violent sport. It's a tamed down gladiator sport. You know what I mean? It's the way we were taught to play. Now they're getting penalties and suspensions and fines and everything for the hits, for the way they taught us to hit. You know what I mean? We came up hitting people. I mean, you hit them. You didn't have to cheap shot them, but I mean, every chance we got, we would try to break them up. And that's the way we were taught to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, that's why I gravitated to the Raiders, because to me, the Raiders played the kind of football that I like to play. You know, they were the type of team that were gonna hit you. I didn't care what we get. If we get a flag, we get a flag. But we're gonna make sure that you know we're here. So the next time you run out there, you're gonna look for us before you catch the ball. You know what I mean? That's the kind of ball that I wanted to play, and that's the kind of ball that I think I did play. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean by being a violent sport.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Same with you, Bunk.
Well, I like football because when I was young and I couldn't play the weight limited team leagues, I was pumped up when I used to see Dean Neal. I had a cousin, Alvin Stansbury. They all played for Big Al. And I heard so much about Annapolis High School, Big Al, and all that. So once I hit the 10th grade, I'm going to tell you, 10th grade was rough. Them summer workouts was the roughest I ever had. But after that, practicing, playing with like Donald Gross and all, man, Donald hit me harder than anybody ever played ball with. But after that, I didn't have any more problem. I was doing the same thing he was doing. It is a rough sport. I mean, back then, they would call what we played they would call concussions all the time. Because, I mean, we hit. But this day and time, you can't do what we used to do.
So you know what the coaches used to say when you were seeing stars? You just got your bell wrong. Get back out there and play. You remember that?
Yeah.
And to find out today, they were actually concussions, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Janice, on you.
So, gentlemen, thank you for that. Those answers are pretty amazing. And yes, Spar Road for life. Anyway, with that being said, I'd like to know, starting with you, Kim, who were some of your personal and professional heroes that you looked up to when it came to football?
Well, I never really identified with anybody playing high school football at the time. I didn't know, the names behind the uniform, but I know professionally, I looked up to John Mackey. John Mackey was my size. He played tight end, and he was a bad dude. So when I started playing football, I was John Mackey. That was my hero, John Mackey.
Okay, Jeff.
Well, as I reflect, growing up, we all grew up Baltimore Coke kids. But as far as who I looked up to in the community of Annapolis, and I'm going to throw out some names that some of these guys may not even know, because they are real legends before us. And as my sister and them, when schools were segregated, they went to Bates High School. They used to drag me to the game, and there was a running back by the name of Butchie Green. He was from in town in Annapolis. He wore number 22, and that guy just stood out so much. His name was Butchie Green. Another one who didn't get the opportunity to play for Annapolis High, grew up in Annapolis Garden. This was my O.J. Simpson, and his name was Carl Belt.
Oh,
and Carl Belt was one of the best running backs that I ever seen. He played for an unlimited team called Hopkins back then, and I was a little boy over to Germantown and watched those dudes play. Another one, because I was a quarterback in high school, and another legend at Bates High School when schools were segregated was Little Bump Teenager. He was a quarterback, number 12, Bump. So, but as far as professionally, there was Lenny Moore, who I looked up to, who played for the Baltimore Colts back then. Everybody wanted to be Lenny Moore, So that's just my little storytelling of my local legends and from a professional standpoint. And Lenny Moore was the man back then.
Thank you, Jeff. Howard?
I grew up watching Buck Smalls and those guys. I grew up watching them play ball, and I kind of idolized them a little bit. But I shouldn't say idolize, because I played with Kevin Slade for a lot of years. I played with him in high school. I played with him at Morgan State. I played with him in the flag league for years and years and years. And he was the type of player, I don't care what he played. He excelled in it. You know what I mean? And when he passed, it was a big toll on me because it when you're young like that, you have no thoughts of dying or anything like that. You know what I mean? But it made you realize your mortality. And you know what I mean? That it can be your time anytime. It don't make a difference how old you are. You know what I mean? And when I went to his funeral, that really affected me a lot to see him laying there after years and years of playing ball with him around my age. I idolized the Raiders. I like Jack Tatum. You know, I mean, I just like the way those guys hit. And I started off at Annapolis High School trying out for a fullback. You know what I mean? That's what my buddy Billy Dyson told me to play fullback. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to be hit. I wanted to hit somebody else. So I gave that up real fast and started playing defense. But that was mine.
Thank you for sharing that. And William?
My idols were Bubba Smith and Mean Joe Green. I like those defensive ends, even though once I got to high school, I realized that the first thing the coach is going to do is make an offensive lineman out of you, no matter what you care for. Everybody's playing offense until they find out who can do what. But, yeah, it was Bubba Smith and Mean Joe Green. I love hitting. But once I left high school and played semi-pro, I went right to that defensive end spot.
Awesome. Thank you all for sharing who some of your heroes were professionally and personally. Armand, on to you.
So knowing what you know now about sports injuries, would you still play football today, Kim?
Yes, without a doubt, I would. Football sort of guided my life and gave me all the opportunities I have today. Went to school on a scholarship and was able to progress further from playing ball. So yes, there is an inherent risk with you just waking up and walking out in the street in the morning. So yeah, I would not change a thing. I would continue to play football. I continued on the path that I went on. I think I was I'm going to say pretty fortunate that I didn't have any serious injuries while playing, and none that I can see thus far that have any lasting effects on.
Awesome. Well, you know, Jeff, you were the smart one. You played 1 year and you got your state District 5 title and a county championship, and you decided to stick with basketball. But you were a multi-sport player. There's one person here said from Lenny Knight, he said Jeff was definitely a multi-star sports athlete. Knowing what you know today, would you have played football while growing up?
Well, to answer that question and to be honest with you, I think through my journey and in listening to everyone here, our first love was football.
Yeah,
it was football. My first love was football. However, as I continued to grow and develop, my stature wasn't there for football. Even though I was a natural athlete, you know, with football, I believe I was a better football player before basketball. And I say that because we didn't have weights back then to develop physically. And you know, we used to like eat McDonald's food. Our nutrition wasn't there. So from a physicality standpoint, my body just wasn't built for football as I went into high school. However, you know, there was a young man, because going to high school, I wasn't going to play football anymore. And a young man who, a very good friend who played for us on the 73 championship team by the name of Melvin Colbert, convinced me to go to the meeting, in which I did. So got to the meeting. I had in mind that I wasn't going to play football in high school. He convinced me to play. And through that journey, you know, as I said, I was a pretty good football player. Made first team all county as a 10th grader. One of the first in Anne Arundel County. However, when that season ended, I was so thankful because of the words that Howard Johnson is using today, Kim and Bunk, all that hitting that was going on out there. I survived it. And turned in my papers after that season. I was so determined, and the guys came to my mom's house the following year, begged me to play football, and with everybody in the house, and my total commitment was no, it's over. And I was happy with that decision, and I made a decision to focus on just one sport to gain me my education and to just be a champion.
Awesome. You know, Howard, before you answer that question, none of you had a chance to play with Angela Wells, did you?
I did.
Who did?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
that's a question.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Oh, did.
So what year did Angelo graduate?
72.
Yes, 72.
All right, so
I played with him at Morgan.
Okay. At Morgan?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was his senior year.
Okay.
I had an opportunity to play with Angelo, and some of you may not know this. My big brother, Jay Brooks, he played for a team. You know, it was a local team. St. Mary's had a team. And my brother played for St. Mary's, and they had T-Birds and all that back then. But they went down to St. Mary's, and I can recall me playing football with my brother at St. Mary's, those older guys, and my brother, Angelo Wells from Annapolis Garden, and brought him down to St. Mary's, and that's where Angelo was introduced to football through my brother, Jay Brooks.
Awesome. That's good stuff. Okay, Howard, knowing what you know today, all right, about sports injuries, would you play football today?
You know what? I love the game so much. I still would have played. You know, I've seen time on mom where I hit somebody so hard with my helmet and his helmet that I got up and walked around the circle 3 times before I could go back to a huddle. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, we concussions wasn't even thought of back then. All we know is I couldn't wait to get back in the game.
That's true.
You know what I mean? I know all of y'all that played, man. You didn't want to sit on the sideline just because you got hit hard, especially with all the other guys around. You know what I mean? So I definitely would have still played. Both my sons played at Annapolis High, and my grandson now is playing football, man. And I would never tell him, you might get hurt. Don't go out there and play football.
Yeah.
Because I was always told that if you play timid, you're going to get hurt. So you got all those pads, you got all that protection. Go out there and play. If you're tipping and barely hitting people, that's when you're going to get hurt.
That's true.
You know, so yeah, I would have played. Even knowing what I know now, I still would play.
Hey, Howard, you know it's called hit or be hit.
That's right. That's right. Because if you stand there looking and not doing nothing, spectating, somebody gonna hit you. even if you over on that side of the field, somebody gonna hit you.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. What about you, Bump?
Of course. I mean, I was a big guy. I mean, I was like 260, and there's nothing else for me to play. I can't shoot basketball. I don't like running track. So definitely I'd continue playing football. And just like Howard said, it's always been hit or be hit. And as long as you're doing the hitting, you don't have to worry about nothing. You have fun out there playing football. Yes, I will continue playing.
This is really interesting. Before I go to my next scripted question, you guys all seem to have a passion about it. Where did the passion come from? Starting with you, Kim.
Wow, the passion, I guess, came from the older guys in the community.
Okay.
Grew up with Frank Brown, Icehead Sims, all these guys on Spy Road that beat and hacked and fouled and pushed us playing. And then you mentioned Kevin, Gilbert, and myself. We playing all these sports with these guys who were 6, 7 years older than us, and we're trying to hold our ground. It was just our burning desire to be better than they were. So that's where the passion came from. We're going to be better than you, no matter what the cost is. So that's where the passion came from.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Real quick,
Janice, can I?
Sure.
hold up, Jeff. Just
Right.
real quick. You know, Jeff said he invited a lot of people, right? I kicked about 20 people off stage. You know,
Probably not.
they are coming. I'm telling you, they coming in, man, and they are persistent. But go ahead, Janice. I'm sorry.
Okay, so quickly, Jeff, tell me about the passion real quick. Where all of you have a fire. So where'd your passion come from, Jeff?
I think the passion came with me through my brother.
Okay.
You know, for those who have a big brother, we always wanted to be like them. You know, I always wanted to be like my brother. And that's where the competitive drive came with me, because he never allowed me to win a game, whether it's in basketball or he was a better baseball. But, he was just a natural athlete. And I had to try to surpass his greatness in the community, as well as Kim is saying, you know, we all here play multiple sports. However, on the football field, we even played with the older guys, and they would put the wood on you and punish you on the football field. So the competitive drive came from, because we all played up. We all played with older guys who did not give us any slack. And in order to get on the court or on the football field, you had to prove yourself that you were worthy. So we always wanted to be on the court from, if it's summertime, we were out there in the morning, and you come home in the evening, and you were just out there all day. You were out there all day. As well as, let me just say, with Coach Larimore in playing football and basketball at Annapolis High School, just his aura about winning.
Yeah.
You know, he gave us those ingredients of what it takes to be number one. And number one, it took hard work. It took dedication. It took you had to be loyal. You had to be committed, you know, and he showed us the value of resiliency, being able to bounce back when things didn't go your way. So all that passion drove us to want to be number one, because that's all he drilled in us and instilled in us, that we were competitors and that we were the best around in Anne Arundel County. And it never left any of these guys. I can see it in their faces today and who we are today. We just wanted the will to win. And not by any means necessary, but by putting forth enthusiasm and great effort into what we're into in life today, as well as on the football field.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Howard. Tell us about that passion.
Awesome.
First of all, my passion came from my father. My father played football, and he was from Eastport, over on 2nd Street in Eastport. You know what I mean? So from what I understand, the Peerless Wrens had a football team and a basketball team back in the day. And he played, they said he was a good tight end. He had good hands, you know what I mean? But I had pads and I had all that stuff from the time I was little growing up. And that was where my first passion came from. But like Jeff said, you know what I mean, playing for Al Larimore, I have the utmost respect for Al Larimore. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I think he gave you all the tools that you needed to play the game. You know what I mean? He taught us how to get in shape. Well, he made us get in shape. You know what I mean? Bunk might not remember this, but I remember, I don't know what he ate that day, but we started running and doing them, jumping them bags. So he started throwing up. You know what I mean? Out on the field. And I don't know if it was a 3-day practice, but I think he was eating bologna. Hey, serious business. But he started throwing up, and it wasn't nothing to do that because we ran so much. We ran hills. We used exogenies. We jumped bags. We did monkey roll. We did everything, all of those things to get you in shape. He got you in shape and ready to play the game. And we talked the other day, and I was telling them I don't know if they remember Kenwood High School. We went to Kenwood High School, and we got off the bus and ran out on the field. Them players from Kenwood, they had a lot of great, big, tall white guys on the team at Kenwood High School, and they laughed at us when we ran out on the field because compared to them, we were small. They're drinking cream of juices and all this stuff, and I mean, it's like almost 100 degrees outside. All we had was a guy, Henry Brown, with a bucket and a dipper with water in it.
Wow.
And they chose when to give you some water. You know what I mean? But we were in shape because we ran out and we practiced in that 100-degree weather. You know what I mean? So we went out there, and I mean, we beat the brakes off them. When we left the field, they weren't laughing. You know what I mean? That's how bad we beat them. But I'm just saying, he got you ready. He wasn't going to let you hold him hostage on his team just because you were good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. He didn't care how good you were. Either you're going to do it the way I say do it, or you're not going to do it at all, or you're going to be on the bench. You know what I mean? And those are some of the things that I think coaches of today, even little league coaches, need to do, because they, even at the high school, they'll let kids do anything they want to. Just don't leave. Don't go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Because they're good players. He wasn't from that mob. You wasn't doing that.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I told him the other day, I'm not trying to talk too long, but I told him the other day that she was my first wife, but we were going together in school from like 11th grade all the way up. But her family went to Hershey Park, man, and I wanted to go to Hershey Park, and we were having 3-a-day practices. And I skipped practice and went to Hershey Park. Oh. I came back. He had put me on 4th string. You know what I mean? But I did it to myself. You know what I mean? Be mad at him. But everything that touched the ball, I tried to break up, even in practice, until that made him put me back on 1st string. You know what I mean? But that's the kind of coach he was. You know what I mean? You gonna do it the way I say do it. You're not gonna do it.
Right.
So that, to me, that was motivation. That was, you know,
that fueled your passion a little more.
Yeah, yes, it did.
Okay, and William, please.
What was that question again? I forgot, Hal.
Sorry. Where did your passion come from?
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It mostly came from when I was young out Bestgate, playing a lot of street ball like we did. We also played some sandlot where we'd go up Naybell and play up in the field, parole, and other like Jeff was talking about earlier, other neighborhoods. They get together and we play. But I was doing pretty good hitting people, so you know, I sort of liked it, and I think that was my passion. I could hit and knock them down and or make tackles and do what I had to do, and like Howard was talking about Annapolis High School. Once you got over there, you hit all the neighborhoods. I mean, they were all from all over Mulberry Hill, Browns Woods, Annapolis, Parole. Players came from everywhere. Once you become one of the top hitters out there, they sort of give you a little respect. You can even ask for extra sodas in the locker room and stuff like that once you beat up on the guys. But, also played ball with Angelo Wells up in he played semi-pro. He played for Handover Rhinos, and I played with the Baltimore Eagles. And Angelo, he was a beast. He was a great football player. I remember when we were in the 10th grade, he was in the 12th. He could get sodas. I mean, he would knock anybody out on the field. And him and another guy named Pat Turner, them two, they were the baddest ones out there back when we were in the 10th grade. I'll never forget that. So when I got in the 12th grade, I wanted to be just like they were, and things were nice. We had a good team. We had great athletes too. I played ball with Kevin Slade, Henry Downs. We had a bunch of them. Udi McHenry. Gabby Wells was good. That was Angelo's brother.
Yeah.
He was wild. He was more wilder than Angelo was, but Gabby was a great athlete.
Well, one you left out, Bump. One you left out is Steve Sims, too.
Oh, yes. I really got it on paper. Steve was one of the best linebackers I've ever seen. Yeah. In high school, he's one of the best linebackers. I don't care. I know they talk about 1974, 1978. I just want to congratulate 1978 for going 12-0. That was good. I appreciate it. I'm glad of it. Plus, some of the boys I used to coach, 3 years I coached, 1 year 75 and 2 years 90 pound. Some of my players was on that team, and I'm proud of them for having a 12-0 record. They were good, but I know all around we had some great athletes in 1974 that, you know, once they play good, it make you play good. You know, you got other players that I seen times when Joe Gross from the Capitol would go to Kevin Slade and said, Kevin, what about this and that in the game? And Joe Gross, he wrote for the Capitol. He'd say, go see Stansbury and Jones. And whatever we said, that article was in the paper the next day. That's how Kevin was. He wasn't selfish at all. He was a great athlete.
Wow.
But Henry Downs, Kevin Slade, Steve Sims, 1978 couldn't have done nothing with them fellas. I'm telling you.
Wow.
Well, also, you know, Bunk, just to back you on that, if you look at the record, and for the record, in 1973, how many of us was first team all county from Annapolis High School?
Yeah, we had 10 all county players.
We had 10 all county players. So first team. So including 2 10th graders, myself and Donald Downs, first ever in Anne Arundel County.
Oh yeah. And see, like the 11th grade, we didn't have Big Al. He didn't coach us 11th grade. Them guys had Big Al for 2 years. They had him 11th grade and 12th grade. We had Lou from Andover, and we had Coach Vilwalk.
Peter Lexington.
Yeah, Peter Lexington was 10th grade, but we had Vilwalk in the 11th grade, and we had Dick Duden, we had Jeff Mosley, we had guys that, if you, like Howard say, they would take your head off if you didn't watch it. And they made us tougher. I swear, they were great athletes. They made us tougher.
You know what I think I may do? I just may have that class of 78 on next week to rebut this interview right here. But look,
Armin.
Yeah,
it's no different, you know, because I got to give my applause to Kim and Bunk, because 73 to 74 school year was a great year for Annapolis High School. Yeah. It was a year of championships. I mean, we won the county in football. That was the first year they introduced the District 5 game in the state of Maryland. We were champions there, along with, you just challenged the football team, and in 73, 74, we went to Cole Fieldhouse and won the state basketball championship. Right. So that group that came behind us that won the state championship in basketball, we played them and they got beat. Bottom line. So those young boys who may want to face Kim Jones, Hal Johnson, and Bunk Stansbury, if we could turn back the time, we'd have knocked snot out their nose.
Yeah, they would not have beat us. They wouldn't beat us.
Well, we thank you for that. Armand, you were going to say something?
Are you finished? Is it my turn?
With the passion, yes. Thank you, gentlemen, for the passion. I think the next question is mine, actually, I believe. Unless you have something. Do you have anything from the audience, a question or anything?
No, well, one thing, Brother Elder Charles E. James Sr. said, Big Al didn't settle for anything except your best. And you guys, you were the best. You were the best. Yes. Go ahead, Janice.
So here's a question. What was your worst game, whether it was high school or collegiate? What was the worst? Starting with you, Kim.
Oh, okay. All week long, for about 3 weeks, we have been practicing a play called 28 counter 2-man carry. Normally, just
hold up, Kim. I was a quarterback. The play was wing right, 28 counter, 2-man come, center out. Ready? First hit, center out. Ready?
Thank you, Jeff.
That's the play, Kim. Okay. You remember I was a quarterback.
Yeah, so we have been practicing that, and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm gonna get a chance to run down a sideline. Well, we called it in a home game at Annapolis. I can't remember the team we were playing, but anyway, I got the ball, turned the corner, going upfield, and then all of a sudden the lights went out. Wham! I was knocked over, knocked down, face was all in the white dust of the field. I had fumbled the ball. My helmet was cocked a little sideways. And in fact, I had to come out the game. My cousin, Larry Beavers, had to come in and replace because I didn't know where I was for a hot second, talking about concussions. So that is the play that I remember that was which led to the worst game of my life. My big chance to run with the ball after Kevin get the ball 200 times or Melvin get the ball 150 times. I get one chance to carry and I fumble it.
We still love you. Jeff, your worst game.
Well, my worst game that it would speak for all of us. It would speak for all of us. And it was the District 5 championship game. We had played so well this year in 73 leading up to this. We had won the county, and the District 5 game was at Glen Burnie High School. And that day, you know, we were on a cloud because we knew that we were tough. I mean, that we were going to win this thing. We went through the county, and we were facing Arundel again, and we had just previously played Arundel a few weeks before that, and I'll never forget on the we held Arundel to 4 plays on the inch-yard line. I'll never forget that, Howard, and you were on the defensive side, and they couldn't get the ball in the goal line. However, we played them at Glen Burnie for this District 5 championship game. I mean, I led the county in interceptions, you know, hits, and everything that we were doing just didn't go right that day. I mean, interceptions, ball going straight through our hands, through my hands, and blowing us off the line. They went in at halftime. They were ahead, and this is the moment where Coach Larimore came into the locker room. I'll never forget this, and I know Kim, Howard, and Bunk, and he chewed us a new, you know what, and called us all types of Girl Scouts, brownies, and all that at halftime. And he just walked out the locker room. And we felt like zero. And we all had, before we went back on that field, the leaders, the seniors, we made a commitment. When we ran out of that locker room at halftime in the second half, that we were going to play some football. But we got chewed out, and we felt so low, but we lift ourselves back up. The word resiliency comes back to my mind, and we end up beating Arundel with Henry Downs, and they knew what we were going to do. He jumped over for a 2-point conversion. We faked the field goal, and he jumped over, and we beat Arundel by 1 or 2, I believe. But that was a moment that we felt so low because we didn't rise to the occasion, or the expectation had slipped, and Coach Larimore made us aware that he had to bring us down at halftime. So that was a moment, but we did end up winning the District 5 championship.
Awesome, thank you.
Let me add something to that. I was talking to Henry before he had passed, and we were talking about that play on the goal line. Henry told me, he said, I called that play. He said, I wasn't going to let, I think it was Jeff Donaldson, kick the ball. He said, I ran a quarterback. He said, I ran the ball, ran a quarterback sneak, and got in. He said, if I didn't make it in, he said, I'd still be running today, but I made it in the end zone.
Thank you for that. Howard?
Hey, Jeffrey Brooks.
Go ahead, baby.
He gave you the tamed down version of that, how that happened out there that day at the District 5.
You're right, Howard. You're right about that.
10 or 11 of us had made all county, right? When we went up to Glen Burnie to play the District 5 championship, we had brand new uniforms. And because all of us, so many of us had made all county, and we played so good that year, our heads were this big. and Cornelius Stepney and Arundel, they ran all over us, man. They were beating the brakes off of us. And we went in the locker room, and Al came in the locker room. He knocked everything. He knocked the chalkboard over.
He broke everything.
Oh,
and he said, if I'd known y'all peas was going to embarrass me like this, I would have never brought you up here. And he started crying and walked out of the locker room.
Wow.
Yep.
All of us sat there and looked at each other like we couldn't believe that it just happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he to me, that motivated us so seriously. We went back out there and we beat them people 21-20. They didn't score. They had us 20-0 at halftime. They didn't score another point in that game, man. You know what I mean? And to me, that was something in itself to see that, and that was, to me, that was motivational. I don't know how many coaches would have done that, but that was really motivational because he made us realize, you know what I mean? Come on, y'all playing like girls. You know what I mean? You come up. We brought you up here because you playing in the championship, and y'all playing like you want to give it away. You know. And
oh, by the way, the first District 5 game, we're in history.
Yeah,
The
that's
first in the state of Maryland to win a District 5 championship because they did not have a state playoff championship game in 73.
Yeah. And now my worst game, oh man.
Thank
we were
you.
playing against City College.
I'm sorry. Mhm.
And City College.
I ain't asked about that yet, Howard.
Yeah, that's next.
That was my worst game.
Yeah. Can
That's
you,
next.
Howard,
That's my
can we
question.
get,
That's
let
next.
us get to William?
Yeah.
Let us
Hold
get,
on, Hal. Don't give him that one yet.
Yeah, good.
Oh, okay.
we're going to come back to
That
that.
wasn't the worst game, Hal.
William, will you tell us what was the worst game you've ever played in?
That's what I was
Yeah, he was
doing.
getting ready to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. The worst game that I played in was against City College. And they had a tackle and a tight end, and they double teamed me all day long. You know what I mean? I mean, they were hitting me and taking me back. Couldn't break the double team. You know what I mean? And Al was saying, man, you gotta do the rip. You know what I mean? When you see him coming to you and fight against what the pressure is and everything. But these wasn't slouches. This guy that was the offensive tackle had a scholarship to Penn State. You know what I mean? These guys could play ball, and it got so bad that I had to hit them and then kind of fall down in the hole to block the hole up, so they couldn't run through the hole, even if they did beat me with the double team. You know what I mean? So Al was the type of coach, when you go to watch the game films, if you did good, he gonna keep playing it back. He gonna keep running it back. But if you did bad, he was gonna do the same thing. And he said, Johnson, what you doing? What you playing? Free safety? What's your position? Why you keep being back in the backfield? You know what I mean? And yeah, he rode me. I mean, he rode me because they kept up. I couldn't beat that double team. You know what I mean? And they just made it bad on the next team we played. You know what I mean?
Yes, they did.
So much that the next game I was playing like I was crazy. You know what I mean? I was out there hitting everything. You know, and that was my worst game. That was my worst game. You know what I mean? And he won't let me forget it.
Thank you, Howard. William, tell us what your worst game was.
I had a bruised shoulder. I think it was Bel Air, that night game. Well, I'm not going to say that was my worst game. It was my worst first half. We went in the locker room, and after Big Al cussed me out at halftime, I went back out and I was doing okay. But my worst game was Southern High School. I dealt with Kelton Foote all day long, blocking him, Kim and I. And Kelton was a big guy, man. He looked like Bubba Smith, but we still beat him real bad. But I think that was my worst game. I just want to be honest. But Kelton and I are good friends. We were good friends. He passed away, but Kelton Foote was a beast.
Hey, Kim and Bump, can I say something to you on that? To give y'all an applause. What game was it when wing right 22 power didn't work? And Coach Larimore rode you and Kim so bad that during the next week of practice, if I can recall, you know, and I keep using this word resiliency, being able to bounce back, being able to rise to the occasion after being chewed out by Coach Larimore, and not going in a hole and feeling bad about yourself. Because you two, and that was our bread and butter. We only had 4 plays that we ran. And you all know that because you was on the offensive side as well as me. I was on both sides. However, I'll never forget, he chewed you and Kim out so bad because you was the post and Kim was supposed to drive the guy down. Terry Orr was pulling out to kick out the end that come across, fake to Melvin in the hole, Jack come off, off tackle, and run the ball. It didn't work. However, you two, I'll never forget it, stayed after practice, everybody else gone, down on the field, hitting that 2-man sled for another 45 minutes to 50 minutes after practice. So it showed the hard work, the dedication, and the commitment of you two to spring Kevin Slade through those holes, and the following week you could drive a Mack truck through that hole because the hole was so big based on the extra work and extra time and commitment that you two put in on the field during that time. So I just want to applaud you guys on that. And that's a life lesson because it carried over into your guys' life today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I'll take that compliment any day. All right.
Oh yeah.
So fellas, before we go to the next question, one of the viewers said it would be an honor to meet you guys. You know, he played on a 78 undefeated state title team. And what he had mentioned, possibly at Coach Vilwalk's memorial on the 25th of Broadneck High School. So my next question is this. Bunk, what was your best game?
Oh man. That's hard because I can't. Let me see my best game. I might have written it down somewhere. I can't recall because most games we had once. Let me say it could have been Parkdale. We beat them 60-something to. Might have been nothing. What was it, 61-0 or something like that? Could have been a game like that. I can't recall, but most of them was pretty good because Kim and I were, like Jeff said, were leading posts, and once Kevin got past us, it was on. You know, he could do his thing. So it was like every week. If you look at our records, most of the games, I believe nobody got over 14 points except for that one game in the playoff where it was 21-20. All the other games, we had them like, I mean, half the teams didn't score, and some of them got 7 points. So It was fun for us every week to go out there and just, do our thing. That's all.
Wow. What about you, Kim? What was your best game?
I think my best game was Bel Air High School. We hadn't beat Bel Air in about 6 years, and we ran a play Al had made up. 52 power pass, blocked down just like it was a leading post. When he told me to read the safety, when the safety came up, you leave and you go up. Ran up the field, went behind the safety. Henry threw a touchdown. Boom! We beat Bel Air for the first time in about 6 to 8 years. That was my best game.
Nice.
Wow. What about you, Jeff? What was your best game?
As a team, football is a team game. It's a team game. And as Bunk said, every Saturday at 1:00, the Panthers, the Fighting Panthers, we were ready. But I have two that I can recall right now. And our starting quarterback, Henry Downs, went down. Remember Henry twisted his ankle? And I relieved him as quarterback. And remember, Kim, wing right, sprint, pass, and one go. And, I sprinted out, pumped it. Eric Pickett went down the sideline, and I hit him with a 60-yard pass going down the sideline as a quarterback. My next one, and I was a special team guy as well back then. And, our Anne Arundel County rivalry, Southern High School, we beat them pretty bad, as Kim said. I can't recall. But I ran punts back. I was our punt guy. So on this day, Southern punts, I catch it on the 4-yard line. Sprint, juking, duke. I go 96 yards down the sideline, go over the goal line, toss the ball behind my head, go to the sideline. Coach Larimore laid me out. Yeah, damn, hot dog, what you doing? Throwing the ball behind your head. I just ran 96 yards. However, those were two highlights of my moment as a Fighting Panther on the gridiron.
Awesome.
Awesome. What about you, Howard?
I think one of my best games was a game right after the City College game. I guess because I was so pumped up to make up for that game. We played against Arundel, and I was
Yes,
lined
sir.
up in front of the guy from a runner like this. You know what I mean? That's how bad I wanted to go across the line and hit him. And that was a real good game. I had a lot of tackles. It was good game. I think that was my best game. But I had a good game playing offense. Larimore made me play. I hated offense, so he made me play offense one game. And that one game in the newspaper, I made offensive lineman of the week. That one game, and that's the only game I played offense, and I didn't want to play it. You know what I mean? But he kept running it back. Look at it. You know what I mean? I was crabbing underneath of the guy. He was trying to step over me. It was a complete game of offense. So I think that was one of my best games too.
Awesome.
Howard, I never knew you played offense.
I
That's
hated
news to me.
I hated it. One game, y'all, and I made offensive lineman of the week.
Avis Tucker is really giving you guys a lot of compliments, man. A lot of compliments, and you guys, again, you worthy of legendary status. On you, Janice.
Okay, so tell me, what did you all learn individually about yourself from the game of football? What did you learn about yourself from the game of football? We're gonna start with you, William.
One thing I like about football was Big Al. He taught me enough that I started coaching 75 and 90-pound teams. Had 3 years of coaching football. Also left out of high school and played semi-pro, where other guys did 4 years in college, and I was playing with guys who've been cut from the pros and played 4 years of college. Kim and I played together with the Baltimore Eagles, and like I said, we played against Angelo Wells. I also like that the conditioning I learned from Big Al was it taught me to do things where people used to say, "Don't say I can, always say I'll try." So I ended up doing overhead line work, climbing poles. I climbed steel towers, which I probably would never have done if I wasn't conditioned like I was. So I felt like if another man can do it, I can do it too. So the conditioning helped me out. And another good thing is I'm proud of my football players I used to coach, because a lot of them are coaches now. I like Ricky Perry, Aubrey Butler, some of them guys. They're coaching high school football right now. And I go see some of the games. I've been to a couple of Annapolis High games. I would like for Kim Jones to go and coach Annapolis High, but he was telling me about that situation. But I'm just glad for the conditioning that I had, and the leadership I had, and taught people to be leaders. Don't be the head, don't be the tail. Be leaders. I try to tell my grandkids the same thing. Don't follow people all the time. Learn to do stuff yourself, and I think that's where that came from, with some of that.
Well, thank you for that. Very good, Kim.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all have pretty much like similar stories from high school. I know the big thing that Jeff keeps saying: resiliency. You get knocked down, get back up, never quit. Well, I coached football in high school. I coached for about 15 years at Parkdale High School. My last year there, 2003, we won the state football title. But aside from that, when I graduated from college, and I went to work for this company called Computer Science Corporation. They sent us through 2 months of training. Now, I don't know how many tech people we have out in the audience, but we took a year's worth of Cobalt and a year's worth of Fortran. And those were two of the basic languages that they started off. This was way back in the day. They don't even use it. And we stayed at the dorm room up in American University. So, I mean, I'm thinking as I'm coming from these classes, oh, man, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? I'm in my dorm room as I'm reviewing the work. No, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. And then you hear the voice of Al. Get up.
Wow.
Pull yourself together. Keep moving forward. Never quit. And that was the thing that I got from him the most. Never quit. That just echoed over and over and over again. And so that led me on to a 25-year career working at Goddard Space Flight Center. And you see some of those images from the Hubble Space Telescope. That was a team that I worked on, that we developed those things. But Big Al in the background. Get up, Kim. Don't quit.
Right.
Finish what you start. All of those things came to mind during that time period.
Wow.
Wonderful. Thank you. Howard?
I think it kind of piggybacked on what they were saying, is that never give up, whether it's sports or whether it's in life. You know what I mean? Even though it looks a little dark and things look like they're almost impossible. I've seen it on the football field, and I saw it when we played that District 5 championship. People thought, oh man, they were done. When we came back and beat them 21-20, that showed that if you don't give up and if you keep playing, you can do anything. Defense got to step up, offense got to step up, and you got to do the same thing in life.
Awesome.
Never give up. Don't matter how bad it looks. You know what I mean? Keep on striving to do what you set out to do, and you can make it. And that's one of the important things that taught me.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Jeff?
I was really reflecting and thinking about that question. With the game of football with me, from the time that I did play it from Pop Warner up to high school, with football being a team sport, 11 guys on the field at one time, it gave us a sense of family amongst one another. A lot of us who are sitting here right now have parents who may not have attended our games. I know I'm one. Our parents were not at our games, too many of them. You know, some parents did, but other than that, we had to make good decisions on our own. We were driven by the game, the sport of football. So coming to Annapolis High and playing that 1 year of football, as well as, the other sport that I played, which was basketball, it helped Coach Larimore helped to develop some principles that I really, really stand by in my life. And that principle, he taught us about manhood.
Mm-hmm.
He showed us the first virtue of manhood, which is, to me, it's called tough love. He showed us tough love, as well as he planted the seed of uplift. We supported one another as we competed against the other schools in Anne Arundel County. As I said earlier, he rode Bunk and Kim Jones. We were there to uplift those guys when they stayed after practice for 50 minutes to tell them, look, man, it's going to be okay. And it was okay. Also, the other principle was perseverance. He taught us about tough times, that we were going to have tough times, as Howard said in that District 5 game. Called us every name in the book in that locker room. But we did not allow it to deter us or to distract us to where we were, for what we were trying to achieve in that moment. And scholarship, he taught us scholarship. To be the best that you can be. And all that is transferable over into what I see on the screen today, and the men who I'm talking to today have exemplified scholarship. Whether it's going on to college or taking a job or just being a parent, being successful in whatever we wanted to do. We wanted to be the best at what we did. And it's one thing that I tell kids as an educator, as a teacher, be the best that you can be. If you're going to shine shoes, be the best shoe shiner. If you're going to flip burgers, be the best burger flipper. But most of all, Be true to yourself and who you are, and shoot for the stars. And as my company name is, and it comes from Coach Larimore, it's called First Place Inc. It's only one place in life, and that's first place. And if you do come in second, he taught us to everything that we're saying tonight is to bounce back, rededicate yourself, refuel, show resiliency, and just keep working hard, and good results are going to happen. And I believe that has happened to all of us and these legends who you have here tonight.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much. I do have to say this. You guys, one thing we don't see a lot of in our community are mentors. And I hope everybody that's tuning in tonight has got some piece of wisdom that you guys have dropped tonight. So that's just, I applaud you guys for that. I just had to throw that out there real quick.
That's good.
You guys are gems. I mean, you just dropped so much wisdom as it relates to just being men, persevering, strength, getting down, getting up. That's huge. And I think that's something that hopefully everybody's receiving tonight as a good thing. I believe one of the next questions on you, I believe.
So if you're out there the first time on YouTube watching this show, be a subscriber. Subscribe to the show. This is really good, what we are part of tonight. And gentlemen, my final question to you, well, before my final, is if you had anything encouraging to leave for any child, any kid that's watching this program, and we do have a lot of kids watching this program, what would you tell them that could help them become successful as a football player, as a young man growing up, just a kid in general? What would you leave as words of encouragement, Howard?
I think that for you to use, I mean, if it's older people, if it's some people and they're telling you and they're giving you some kind of insight into something that they've been through, take it in. Don't reject it. Take it in. If it's something that you can't use, you let it go. But if it's something that you can use, hold on to it. If it'll make you better, you know what I mean. Hold on to it, because a lot of times younger kids today, they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen to coming from somebody that's older. You know what I mean? But a lot of times that older person has been through what they're going through or getting ready to go through. You know what I mean? And if they just use what they can, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna give a for instance. My grandson playing football, and he was playing. He hit somebody on the other team, but it was his friend. You know what I mean? He was upset because of how hard he hit him. I'm like, man, you can't be upset because he would have hit you. You know what I mean? You can't be upset because you hit him and you worried about it. Y'all still be friends after the game. You know what I mean? But you still got, you know, and I'll be on the sideline, and I know y'all know Lodi Mako. We go to our grandson's football game, and we up there watching them play, man, and we watching some of the people that are coaching them. And I'm from the mob, if you don't fix something, it stays broke.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if you're not giving them what they need, that's going to be a lesson for them in football if they want to make it. We up there trying to keep from saying something, but you can't help it. Yeah. Because you want them to get the best that they can get. So if somebody is giving that to you, listen, take it all in. You know what I mean? Don't be upset because they're telling you something against what you're thinking, but they're trying to help you. Take it in if you can use it. If you can't use it, let it go. But if you know that it's gonna make you better, listen to them and just go with it.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
What about you, Jeff?
Well, you know, there are basic principles in life, you know, and as we grow, we all develop at different times and accept things at different times. You know, we all have been fearfully and wonderfully made through that individual who's been watching down on us, who have given us the gift and talents that we have. So my message to the young people is this: whatever gifts and talents that you may have, put the time and the effort into it, and good things will happen. You know, Coach Larimore was a Christian man.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, back then, we probably laughed at him. However, in today's time, you know, when you probably get some quiet time, you reflect back on some of the things that he communicated to us, because his spirit was so deep and his emotions would pour out to us. So what I'm saying is, young people, take whatever gifts you have, work it to the utmost. But the game of life forever is try to find our Lord and Savior as you can in this day and time. Put him in first place, as Coach Larimore did, or anyone else. So my thing is, keep God first place. Surround yourself with good people. Be dedicated, committed to your task or to your trade or to your career, or whatever you want to do. And God will make things happen for you.
Yes.
And you will be blessed.
Good.
Yes.
That's good. That's
Thank
good.
you, Jeff. That was
Awesome.
good.
Awesome. What you have, Bunk?
I agree with Jeff, but I think education, well, put God first always.
Correct.
Second of all, get an education. I myself, in high school, I was a VOTEC student, and my grades wasn't good enough to go to college. I wanted to go to school like with Kim and Kevin and all them. I probably would have been okay if I went, but I don't regret not being a VOTEC student, because I was able to learn to build and have several houses and learn how to do different things in construction. But whatever you do, just stick with it and don't quit on it. Whatever you do, I mean, if you like Jeff was saying, if you want to shine shoes, be the best shoe shiner.
Yeah.
You know, whatever you do, just stick with it. I know the percentage of young people not going to make the professional sports. I've tried out for Toronto Argonauts football team up in Canada, but I found out you got to love that sport. I like football because it was just me hitting and having fun. But to play for professional football, you got to love it. It was a guy, Wheeler Brown. He was running them steps up in Canada, up in Toronto. I said, man, I pulled a hamstring. I didn't make the cut. I wasn't in shape. But you got to do all you can do for whatever you want. If you want whatever trade you want, trades are just as good as education. Don't get me wrong. You can, this day and time, people can make it being an electrician. I myself, I only knew about a lineman that's playing football. End up becoming a career for me, being a lineman for BG&E and Pepco and CW Wright. You make good, you know, I mean, it's a good job. Don't get me wrong. You can make more money doing electrical work than you can white collar. And that's blue collar work, I'm telling you. Young people, get yourself a job. Please get a job if you're out of school. Continue working and just stick with what you want. But like Jeff said, keep God first.
Yes. Awesome. What about you, Kim?
Well, I'm going to end it sort of like we began it. Big Al always said three things: faith, family, and football. Faith has got to be number one. Again, like Jeff said, surround yourself with good people. After you have your faith is going to drive you to make good decisions. You make good decisions. You got to be willing to outwork people, to put in the time, to learn what you have to learn. You do those things, faith, family, and I'm going to say life, you will surely be a success in your life.
Awesome. That was good. Now, Janice, do you have anything else?
This has been awesome, guys.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure really to sit in for my sister tonight and host with Armand. You guys are gems. And I thank God for each and every one of you guys being here and everybody that has joined us this evening.
Well,
And,
Janice, let me give you a shout out.
Huh?
We have to give you a shout out.
Okay, but one
Because
more.
because you would be around that track since we're talking football, and you would be doing that stunt and cheering for all those touchdowns and all those catches and all those hoops for the legends of AHS.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
That's right. Awesome. Awesome.
But no, this was awesome. And guys, I wanted to say lastly, everybody listening and everybody here, we have a lot of work to do, everybody. And after listening to these legends tonight, I think we have what it takes to have that passion to make a difference in our community. And I think we can do that. So that's all I have.
Awesome. Awesome. And you know, you spoke briefly about Al's tough love. You know, this is how it was displayed through Jeff. I was at a Virginia State football game watching Vest play, and Vest had the worst first half possible. I was on my way to the locker room at halftime to meet him. But before I got there, well, once I got there, Jeff was there chewing him up and down, right? So the coaches looked at Jeff and looked at Vest, and they said, you know what? We don't have to say nothing. He said it. He said it all. And Vest came out this second half and had the best game ever. You know, and one thing I got to say about this class right here, you know, yes, you know, 78 went undefeated, first undefeated team, state title, but you guys, you produced 10 all-county, and 3 All-Americans came out of that class, you know, and one of them is here with us tonight, Howard Johnson. And what more could be said? Kevin Slade, Steve Sims, and Howard Johnson. You know, give you guys a hand. You know, you guys did good. And I thank you for being on the show tonight. We may just bring you back sometimes in the near future, maybe a round table with not just you guys, but the 78 team, and see how that works out. You know, and to everybody out there who was watching the show tonight, we thank you for being with us. I'm sorry for the ones who didn't have the correct site to go to and was trying to get into this site, but you were here, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Next week we'll have Tony Spencer. Tony Spencer will be in the studio, and the week after we're gonna have a legend of the future. Lodi Makel's grandson is going to be on. Howard, you said you have a grandson, right? Mm-hmm. I'll be getting with you about your grandson sometime soon too, okay?
Okay.
Again, thank everybody for being on. See you next week, 8 o'clock. Peace.
Amon, thank you, bro.